And I'm sorry,
this morning. Okay, 5 seconds.
Yeah, backup second.
You're on.
All right, good evening. Today is Thursday, July 24th, 2025, and it is 7 p.m. We are in the City of Cottage Grove Council Chamber to call the South Washington County Telecommunications Commission to order. Executive Director Schweisguth, could you please do the roll call?
Commissioner Downs,
Here.
Commissioner Clausen,
Here.
Commissioner Bloom,
Here.
Commissioner Date,
Here.
Commissioner Wilczek. Here. Commissioner Engemann.
Here.
Commissioner Polta.
Here.
Also present is Attorney Michael Bradley, Technical Manager, Assistant Executive Director Lonnie Garland, and myself, Ann Schweisguth.
All right, thank you. We do have a quorum to conduct tonight's business. Next item on the agenda is public comment. We do not have any members in the audience. So we'll move on to the next item on our agenda, which is the approval of agenda. And I would like to move that we move our new business topic, 2024 Annual Audit, Harrington, Langer & Associates, to above reports following the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, lovely. We will move on to the consent agenda. We're looking for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the consent agenda passes. The next item on our agenda was a public hearing for broadband franchise application. That has been postponed, the August 28th, 2025 SWCTC meeting. We will also be scheduling a work session with commission members later in August, but prior to the public hearing. All right, we'll move on to our new business item, which is the 2024 annual audit.
Yes, we have Anna Anderson here tonight from Harrington, Langer & Associates, and she has the 2024 annual audit for us.
Good evening. Thank you,
Welcome.
Ann. Thank you, Commissioners. Again, Anna Anderson here from Harrington, Langer & Associates. We performed the audit on your 2024 financial statements recently, and I'm here to present those results tonight. Oh, it's jumping ahead. There we go. On page 1, we have our independent auditor's report. This is actually 3 pages long. There's 5 major sections here. The first section is the opinion. We've issued a clean audit opinion, meaning the financial statements are fairly stated in all material respects, and they're in compliance with accounting principles. The second section on the bottom of the page lists management's responsibilities for the financial statements. Then we have auditor's responsibilities on the top of page 2. And on page 3, it talks about the supplementary information. That's going to be at the back of the report, and also a report on internal controls. On page 4, we have the required supplementary information. This is management's discussion and analysis. It's just kind of an overview of the commission and the results of its operations for the year. We're going to review the basic financial statements. They're used preparing the proprietary fund accounting, which is the same basis of accounting as private sector businesses. Revenue is recorded when earned, and expenses are recorded when incurred. We have a statement of net position, which presents the assets and the liabilities of the commission. And we also have the statement of revenue, expenses, and changes in net position, which shows the operating revenue and expenses. And then a statement of cash flows, which has additional details on the change in your cash and investment balances. Some of the financial highlights on page 5. At December 31st, 2024, the commission had a net position of $3,494,000, of which just over $2.1 million represented the amount invested in capital assets. There was about $460,000 designated for capital equipment replacement, as well as $237,000 for your relocation fund. The net position of the commission increased about $304,000 from the prior year. This is mainly due to higher than budgeted revenues. The chart at the bottom of the page lists the assets, liabilities, and net position for the commission for 2023 and 2024. In 2024, the total assets increased about $238,000 to just over $4 million. There were deferred outflows related to your pension plan of $77,000, liabilities totaling about $443,000. You had some deferred inflows also related to that pension plan, and then your net position at the bottom of the page. And again, that net position increased about $304,000. So overall, very strong very strong commission with a lot of significantly liquid assets. Page 6, the changes in that position. Here we have your program revenues and your general revenues. Add those together for total revenue increase of about $175,000 from the prior year. In the middle of the page, your expenses decreased about $350,000 from the prior year, mainly due to there wasn't a return to member cities this year due to saving for that relocation for the next year. Again, the change in that position, if we take the revenues minus the expenses, of a positive $304,000. The bottom of the page, your revenues, you have the same major sources of revenue as prior years, mainly franchise and PEG fees. Expenses, the main ones there, wages, benefits, occupancy, professional fees, and depreciation. The top of page 7, the capital assets of the organization amounted to almost $2.2 million. And you acquired about $401,000 of new equipment and leasehold improvements. And those leasehold improvements are down payments or the kind of the construction process for that build out on the new space. And in 2024, revenue was approximately $259,000 higher than expected due to higher than expected PEG fees. And expenses were about $274,000 under budget. That's mainly personnel expenses and video and production supplies. Now we can look at the full financial statements, which start on page 8. And we're just going to kind of breeze through these because we already talked about the highlights. In the middle of the page, we have total assets of about $4 million. Total liabilities, $443,000, giving you that net position of just over almost $3.5 million. On page 9 is the statement of revenue, expenses, and changes in that position. Again, it just shows the details of your revenue and your expense items. In the middle of the page there, we have the operating income of about $187,000. Another strong year for interest income with good market conditions. And revenue minus expenses again, positive change in net position of $304,000. One of the calculations we do, we look at the cost to run the commission. In 2024, it cost about $130,000 per month. And with that, you have about 10 months of reserves. So again, very healthy position to be in. On page 10, we have the statement of cash flows. This provides details for the increase in cash and investments. Now the first section there, your net cash provided by operations, $609,000. And then you invested in some new capital equipment of about $401,000. Interest income of $53,000 for a positive change in net cash of $261,000. Next is the footnotes. These provide details to the financial statement readers. Note 1 is a lot of information about the commission and its policies, some required language as well as definitions. One new paragraph here I want to point out, we added here, this third paragraph talks about the rebranding that's being done and effective now for 2025. I'm going to scroll ahead now to page 15. And note 2, deposits and investments. All funds are fully insured as required by state statute. The bottom of the page, the commission's investments at December 31st, 2024 were $1.1 million. The top of the next page, capital assets. This table shows the beginning balance, as well as any additions or disposals that were made during the year. And then note 4 in the middle of the page, this starts talking about the paraplan. And this is a rather lengthy footnote, so we're going to jump ahead here to page 18. The commission's contributions to the plan were $40,450 for the year. Then you have a paragraph on your pension costs. All of these costs are actuarially determined and measured as of 6/30, so June 30th of 2024. I'm going to scroll ahead now to page 23. With those numbers being actuarially determined, there's a lot of estimates that are used, so I want to mention that these are really sensitive to market conditions. So if the discount rate changed by even 1%, we'd see a large fluctuation in some of these calculations. So again, these are measured as of a specific date. If we looked at them as of today, these numbers would definitely change. Note 5, borrowing arrangements. The commission maintains credit card accounts, which they can charge up to $21,500, and advances were $72 at December 31st, and that's included in accounts payable. Note 6 at the bottom of the page, board designated unrestricted net position. Again, the commission has designated $460,000 to capital equipment replacement and $237,000 to office relocation as of the end of the year. The top of the next page talks about commitments. This is actually your current lease that you are in, not for the new space. You have a table here that shows you the information on that, and then the bottom of the page shows the payments that are required to be made the next 2 years. And then the top of page 25, we have another new paragraph. This mentions that new lease that you've entered into for that new office space that's going to begin or start in May of 2026. And then the last note I'm going to mention here is note 9, insurance settlements. The insurance reimbursement was received related to a claim that was made in the prior year. And any other, so litigation is still pending in this matter, and any future potential exposure by the commission is also expected to be covered by insurance. Now I'm going to skip ahead to the report on internal control on page 30. As part of our audit, we also consider internal controls as a basis for designing our audit procedures. We do not provide an opinion on the effectiveness of those controls, so we're going through the controls of the organization and worked really hard on some checklists this year, documenting more things for us to be able to test as well. Again, we don't provide an opinion on the effectiveness, but we want to make sure that you do have things in place. We have the same 2 internal control deficiencies that were found in prior years. We found no other instances of non-compliance during our audit and testing of any sampled items. And the schedule of our findings is on page 32. The first one, again, is that lack of segregation of duties. You just don't have enough bodies in your office to be able to adequately segregate duties according to accounting standards. It's very common to organizations of your size. It's not a cause for concern on our end. We just want to make sure that everyone is providing checks and balances, that you guys are reviewing financial statements regularly, asking questions, having all the proper approvals. So we just ask that you continue to try to mitigate those risks as best as you can. The second item is about the financial reporting process. We take the information from Ann and her team and put it in this format. We're just required to disclose that to you as well. Now we're going to quickly look at the management letter. This is a separate communication that we're required to give to you as management as part of our audit. It talks about any significant audit matters. There were no new accounting policies adopted during the year, and all significant transactions have been recorded in the financial statements and in the proper period. The last paragraph on this page talks about those estimates again related to the pension plan and how those do fluctuate with dates. On the top of page 2, we had no difficulties encountered in performing our audit. There were no uncorrected misstatements that were non-standard entries. We do assist with some closing entries, but those are considered common and no major errors that we found. We also had no disagreements with management during the course of our audit, and there were no other audit issues or findings. So this concludes my presentation on the annual report of our audit. I want to thank Anne and her team. Lonnie, thank you for your help as well, and thank you for having me here tonight. Are there any questions?
Okay, thank you so much. Any questions or comments? I feel like I have to just ask at least one.
Sure.
How does an advance on a credit card work for an organization like this?
Okay, so I use the word advance. It's essentially just a charge on a credit card.
Oh, okay.
Yep, it's not that you're doing a cash advance or anything
Okay.
like that. It's just considered an advance.
All
There
right.
was a small balance at the end of the year.
Okay, well, that was a good question then, because I definitely was interpreting it differently.
Yes.
Okay, so do we have to accept the audit? Okay, so I'll be looking for a motion to accept the audit.
Motion to accept the audit from Harrington, Langer and Associates.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that's been accepted. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we can now move to reports.
Thank you, Chair, Commission Directors. We have a report for you tonight. Our first thing up is I attended the Alliance for Community Media Conference in Boston at the end of June. I don't know if you can tell, but that's Mr. Michael Bradley up there on the stage. Yeah. Talking about legislation. It was a good conference, a lot of great networking opportunities to talk to people from across the country and find out what they're doing at their community media stations. I also got some really good tips, in particular, a good tip on a company that we could use to update our website for ADA compliance, and also a company that was selling a kind of a neat, compact set piece that was a desk that you could transform from one person to 7, and it didn't take up that much space, which is kind of a fun idea. So that was fun to see that in person. They had a good vendor showing, and they even had, I should advance it, then you know. They had 450 attendees there. It was done at Boston University. And one of my favorite things is we had a Midwest meetup where everybody from the Midwest kind of sat down and we had some really good chats about how we just in the Midwest can connect a little bit better, which I thought was really useful. And we found out that next year is the 50th anniversary of ACM and they're coming to the Midwest. We don't know where yet, but I am hopeful it's Minnesota. So that was a good experience and I think I learned a lot. Lonnie is going to give you a little update on Central Park and how our office is looking.
Thanks, Ann. Chair and Commissioners. So this is coming in from the east entrance, looking into Central Park. And as you can see, they're actually building stairs that we soon will be able to walk up. The top floor would be where our area will be. And the next floor beneath that would be the amphitheater, which now has the roof on it and is enclosed. Still a lot of work to be done, but it's starting to come together. We have some walls and some exciting things happening. This would be walking in our main entrance. So you'd be walking in my door. To your left would be the break room. The room you see with the big window and the plywood on it, that would be the radio room. And then our offices would be straight ahead of you. And then this is looking down the hall. Offices on the left, control room, studio on your right. And it looks like it goes on forever. It really doesn't. It's not that big, but it does look like it goes on forever. And it is fairly large. And this is just a nice view of one of the, this is the radio room. And a really nice view with the windows and nice space when we get the radio up running. So pretty excited about that. This this is a mess, but this is our studio, and it's a work in progress. As you can see, there's lots of things happening. Drywall's going in, insulation. So this is kind of like a staging area for a lot of the heating, cooling, plumbing, that kind of stuff. So it's very busy in this area right now. And then Ann can tell you the rest of it.
The good news is construction is on time and we're under budget, so that's always good to report. Our current lease ends April 30th, 2026. We have requested from our landlord that we vacate early without penalty. Of course, the response to that was no, unless we can find a different tenant, and they are actively marketing the space, so that's good. If they find a new tenant, early release is possible, but I would predict that moving date is likely going to be November of 2025 or March of 2026. So that will get it so that we will not be paying in two places, depending on if we get out of the lease early or not. So that's kind of where we're standing with that. Are there any questions about Central Park?
Did you get your window thing straightened out where they're half glass and half that we talked about last meeting?
We took the doors are glass, what they call the transient above the doors, that was eliminated, but not above the radio room. That is glass. So a lot of great natural light in the space, which is, we were a little worried that because our office is kind of close to the YMCA wall, it's really not as close as we thought it would be. And you get some nice sky through those windows, which is great for natural light for employees.
And there's some shrubbery there too, some green trees and stuff.
Yeah, it's
so
actually pretty nice.
It's actually nice.
Yeah.
It's not as, there's actually sky.
Yeah, yeah, it's coming together. Community engagement, we have been out and about this summer. Our first event was at Juneteenth at Ojibwe Park in Woodbury. You see Nikki and Elena were out there. What we've been doing, and you can see it better on this next picture here, this was us at Strawberry Fest. We have this big poster board where it says, what do you want to hear on your community radio? And people are writing down on Post-its what they want to hear on the radio station, which we've gotten a lot of feedback so far. We're kind of compiling that, and then we'll bring it all together closer to the end of the summer. But we're getting a lot of people that are excited about hearing about the radio stations. So that's kind of fun to see. This was Strawberry Fest. We were in the parade, and we also had a booth. It was very hot that day, but still a great event. We actually, as part of our sponsorship, for the first time that I know, part of our sponsorship, we sponsored an ambassador as well. And we sponsored the very first king of Strawberry Fest ever. His name's Ryan Cunningham. He's on the right there. And because he was chosen as king, our logo will be on the back of the Cottage Grove Strawberry Fest float all year. So that's kind of fun. We also did some other sponsorship. We sponsored the Woodbury Mobile On-Site Recreation Experience, kind of a pop-up recreation event that goes around to different neighborhoods and events and provides activities for kids. So we're on the Woodbury website and on their handouts and also on their little truck there. On the right, you'll see our Dasher board at the Cottage Grove Ice Arena. That's on does Park play on North?
Yes, it would be the main. It'd
yeah.
be the main.
It's on the North Rink. So if you go there, you can check that out. And upcoming events. Tonight, we're actually at Starlight Cinema at Ojibwe Park. Nikki and Brian are over there. We'll be at Newport Pioneer Day, St. Paul Park Heritage Days, and Woodbury Days. And that's our report. We're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions or comments?
How'd you get two move days so far apart? One's December,
Well,
one's
November
March or
would be if we could get out of the lease by the end of the year.
something. Okay,
And then the March would be because we get 2 months free, so that would give us to the end of our lease.
Okay, I think we can move on to the legal report.
Okay, well, good evening, Commission Directors. My reports are in your packet. I'll just point out 3 or 4 things here briefly. One is just to remind you that when the Trump administration eliminated some of these digital equity grant funds, that impacted how Minnesota was going to be distributing digital equity grants this year and I think next year through the Office of Broadband Development through DEED. And you might remember we participated in the development of the Digital Opportunity Plan that the state has. And part of the result of your participation in that was that DEED recognized that community media organizations like this one should be eligible for some of that digital equity or digital opportunity funding. But that was eliminated, and so DEED, Office of Broadband Development, has announced that they will not be doing any digital equity or digital opportunity grants. Update on the FCC. The FCC now has 3 commissioners. 2 had resigned, and Olivia Trusty was just recently confirmed. So there's a total of 3. They need 3 in order to conduct business. So there's a brief couple-week period there where they didn't have enough commissioners to even conduct business. The open meeting law changed this last session, so I put a note in one of the legal reports about that. So it's making participating remotely more flexible now. So not quite exactly how it was during COVID, but a lot more friendly to remote participation for policymakers. So take a look at that when you can, and we can talk about it at future meetings as well. And then lastly, I was a speaker at ACM. That was it was really a good panel on state legislative activity across the country for supporting community media. And it won't surprise you that I talked a lot about Minnesota's efforts. But we had a really good state representative from Massachusetts there, and she was very enthusiastic about their efforts going forward in Massachusetts. And then we had somebody from New York, from BronxNet, which is a community media organization out of the Bronx. And he gave a very enthusiastic presentation, so it was kind of fun to be there and see the excitement and different ideas on state legislative activities for community media. I'll also be speaking at MACTA. The MACTA annual conference is Tuesday, and so I'll be presenting at least twice at the MACTA conference as well. Other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
How do you get invited to all these places, or you just show up?
No, I get invited. Yeah. But if they did invite me, I would just show up. Yeah.
Just don't give them your address.
All right, we can move on to our next agenda item, which is unfinished business, and we have nothing on our list there. So, commission comments and requests.
I just have one comment. As a treasurer, I've been coming in and doing some of the audits, and Mr. Garland and Ms. Schweitzer, they've been doing really good. Thank you. They're organized, they're easy to go through, they've got a system of checks and balances for each one and on themselves. So it's been a very smooth process coming in, taking a look, looking at receipts, looking at the credit card statements, the checks. So and I say this as a compliment, it's rather boring. So I give you guys credit for doing a great job, and like I said, everything's there, everything's in line. Every once in a while you see a weird charge for something and I get an answer immediately. And honestly, the thing I took away from that is I would think it'd be fun or interesting for every commissioner at least once to go in, because we sit here and we kind of see things from sort of a top-down, almost like a theoretical level, but you just see the day-to-day, how it works, what they're spending, and it's a very different view of what all the staff does day-to-day. And it's been really kind of eye-opening and kind of fun and exciting, because sometimes you'll see a charge, you don't know what it is, you ask about it, and then you learn about like, oh, we're doing this, we're trying this, or, you know, this service is coming in. So it's been a very, very enjoyable experience to kind of be able to see that day-to-day operational stuff. So I thank you guys, yeah.
You must get a fair amount of man-hours in keeping track of all that financial stuff too, don't you?
Person hours.
What? Person hours? Yeah. Well, I didn't know which one was doing it.
It takes some time, but, you know, once you have it under control, it kind of, you know, goes pretty smoothly. But yeah.
I got a question, you know, I was reading it before I got here, and everywhere it shows pension liabilities. How do they come up with liabilities? I mean, don't you pay in monthly to PERA, or just briefly explain the liability part of it?
I don't know if that's a question I can answer, to be honest with you. We
is-
definitely do pay into para.
Yeah, it's a para that we pay.
Yeah, but no, you're paying the para, so how do you put it as a liability? Is that for the whole year that it's listed, or it makes it look
get
like
the-
it's behind?
You get the
Like
accounting
you
firm
owe
back.
it later, or?
Do you know, Mike?
Well, there was a law change a number of years back, and I think the pensions were basically upside down. And so then they required all the participating entities to do this accounting so that they can keep track of that, and then hopefully it gets to be no liability, basically, or a lesser liability. So I can't tell you the ins and outs of it, because it's just not something that I normally do, but
So do you have to pay above and beyond what the monthly PERA contribution is? You know, say your monthly payroll, you gotta pay X% of gross pay in the PERA,
There's a
right?
requirement that the company needs to pay a certain percentage,
Yep.
and the employee needs to pay a certain percentage,
Yep.
and that's all figured out through para.
Okay, and is that part of what's listed as pension liability then?
Yeah.
Or is pension liability above and beyond that?
Great question for
Yeah.
the auditor.
Yeah, we can certainly ask the
I don't-
auditor
I
that
don't know
question
the
if you'd
answer.
like.
I don't have that answer for
Yeah.
you, but we can find out.
Well, it just kind of surprised me, because, I worked for the state before and that, and, I know how the employer pays so much, you pay so much each month, and I'm just thinking, where's the liability part of this? I mean, it's like, you pay in monthly or whatever, quarterly or whatever, and, where's this extra liability part, I'm thinking?
I will say that yesterday I actually went to a para seminar up in Sherburne County called Hire to Retire, and they go over the retirement program and everything, because I thought it'd be good to know if an employee has a question or if I have a question. And it was very helpful, that seminar, but they also said that para is one of the healthiest retirement funds in the country.
Yeah.
And that it's really well-run and very financially sound. So that was always good to hear.
That is good to know.
Nice.
yeah, we'll share some more information with you so that you can have it.
I mean, I'm collecting PERA, so I know basically how it works, so I mean, it just,
I feel badly.
and you don't have to pay into PERA on us characters, do you?
Yeah, no,
No.
No, it's
no, they're not employees.
it's a dollar amount that you have to pay.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think you have to make $425 or more a
No, we've
month.
sat through enough of these audits over the years. It should have sunk in so that I can explain it.
I do know at the end of the year that I have to file a report, and if the numbers don't match, there could be a liability, I guess, at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like, if, like a part-time.
We'll give you another month to figure it
Yeah,
out.
I'd appreciate if you just give me some time to figure that answer out. That'd be great.
I didn't know that'd be that hard a question. I'm
We'll
saying, excuse
just
me.
ask Anna can give us a link to something that will
Okay.
explain.
Yeah.
I have one last comment, which is that I happened to be out to lunch at the 328 Grill last Thursday, and who did I run into but Bogman Sherry? And he was doing a video, and so every once in a while at these meetings, we have a little show and tell. I think it'd be fun to do, my special request is show and tell on that one, but also special request to bring back show and tell.
I think that's a great idea. I think I've lost it in the transition, so yeah, next meeting, expect a video.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, any final comments or requests? All right, then everyone enjoy the last bit of your summer, even though we will meet at the end of it, and we are adjourned. Actually, a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
And now we're all in favor? I'm so excited to hit this gavel, now we're adjourned.